Elliot had always considered himself a man of science. Raised in a secular household in London, he viewed religion as a relic of the past. Logic, data, and empirical evidence formed the pillars of his belief system. As a rising star in theoretical physics, he was confident that all mysteries could eventually be solved with enough equations and quantum models. He debated religious friends in university with precision and charisma. With a mix of charm and logic, he would leave most of them speechless. The concept of God, to him, was an emotional cushion for the intellectually lazy. He couldn't understand how otherwise rational people could believe in the unseen. But in quiet moments, away from the noise of academia, he felt a strange emptiness. No formula had ever explained the ache he felt in his chest during sleepless nights. He dismissed it as existential fatigue, common for thinkers like him. Then one evening, he stumbled upon a video titled Surah Ar-Rahman, the Beauty of the Quran. The title alone amused him. Out of pure curiosity, or perhaps arrogance, he clicked play, not knowing that this would be the beginning of his internal unraveling. As the recitation began, he found himself unable to move. Something in the rhythm, the depth of the voice, the cadence of the Arabic verses bypassed his skepticism. His logical defenses, so reliable in debates, had no argument against what he felt in that moment. That night, Elliot couldn't sleep. He kept hearing the words, Fabi ayyi Allahi rabbikuma tukaziban, echo in his mind, though he barely understood it. The voice in the recitation had awakened something buried deep inside him. He tried to brush it off as aesthetic appreciation, nothing more. But the following day, he found himself searching for translations of the Quran. It was as if a switch had been flipped. He wasn't sure what he was looking for, but he felt drawn to something beyond reason, something he had always mocked. His friends noticed he was quieter, more reflective. "You good, man?" one of his lab partners asked. Elliot nodded with a half-smile, unsure how to explain what was happening within him. How do you confess to chasing something you once called delusion? He tried to reason his way out of it, to re-establish the walls he had built around his mind. But the more he resisted, the more his soul tugged at him. For the first time, Elliot began to doubt his certainty about doubt itself. One line from the Quran haunted him. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and the day, are signs for people of understanding. Had he missed the signs all along? Elliot's world began to shift, subtly but unmistakably. He started spending evenings listening to Quranic recitations instead of podcasts. Not for belief. He wasn't ready to admit that yet. But for peace. He told himself it was the musicality, the linguistic beauty. But deep down, he knew the whisper had taken root. One evening, he sat in a cafe, laptop open, surrounded by people, but entirely alone in thought. He watched a video titled, Why I Left Atheism. In the video, a man not unlike himself spoke of an inner longing no logic could fill. Elliot felt like he was watching himself in an alternate universe. Then the man in the video said something that stuck. "I didn't find God in the stars or in the lab. I found him in the silence between questions." Elliot paused the video, overwhelmed. That silence, he had felt it too. He realized something terrifying. He had run out of questions, and what remained was the whisper, soft, persistent, and calling him home. Driven by a strange impulse, Elliot searched for a mosque nearby. He wanted to observe, nothing more. His heart pounded as he approached the entrance. He wasn't afraid of people. He was afraid of what he might find. Inside, he saw men in quiet reflection, heads bowed in prayer. There was a stillness he had never experienced. No debates, no lectures, just presence. A bearded man greeted him with a smile. "Welcome, brother," he said warmly. It startled Elliot. He hadn't expected such kindness. He sat in a corner and listened to the Friday khutbah. The imam spoke about the mercy of God, about how Allah turns to the one who turns to him, no matter how far they've wandered. It felt personal, too personal. After the sermon, a young man offered him tea. They spoke about life, not religion. Elliot felt more seen in that 10-minute conversation than he had in years of intellectual circles. He walked home under a London drizzle, heart heavy and hopeful. Something had changed, though he didn't yet have the words to name it. Elliot began visiting the mosque weekly. He read English translations of the Quran during his train rides, hiding the cover behind a journal. He didn't want to be seen as curious, let alone transforming. Yet, something within him insisted he continue. He began praying in private, awkwardly, imperfectly. At first, it felt foreign, like playing a role in a script he hadn't studied. But over time, it became real. Each sujood grounded him in a way equations never had. Doubts still lingered. His rational mind screamed, demanding hard evidence. But his heart responded with stillness. Faith, he began to understand, wasn't the absence of questions. It was the comfort in not needing all the answers. One night, he knelt on the floor, tears streaming down his cheeks. He whispered, "If you are there, I need you." It was his first prayer, not to a concept, but to a creator. And it felt like something whispered back. That night, he slept peacefully for the first time in years. Elliot knew he couldn't linger in limbo forever. One Sunday, after months of inner conflict, he returned to the mosque. The imam recognized him and smiled. "Would you like to talk?" he asked. They sat in the library. Elliot admitted everything: his skepticism, his journey, the pull he couldn't ignore. The imam listened patiently, then simply asked, "Do you believe there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger?" Elliot hesitated, then said, Yes, I do." With witnesses present, Elliot took his shahada. His voice trembled, but his heart felt light. For the first time, he felt aligned, with himself, with the universe, with the divine. There were no thunderclaps or visions, just peace. The days following his conversion were strange. He felt both reborn and displaced. How would he tell his colleagues, his family, his friends? He practiced answering their questions in his head, unsure if they would understand. He started praying 5 times a day, learning the words in Arabic slowly. It wasn't easy, but each prayer stitched him closer to his new identity. He wasn't abandoning logic, he was finally balancing it with meaning. He stopped drinking, changed his diet, began dressing more modestly, small changes that to others seemed extreme. But to Elliot, they were steps toward clarity. His closest friend Mira confronted him one afternoon. "Is this a phase?" she asked. Elliot smiled. "It's not. I've never felt more awake." He lost some friends, gained others, but most importantly, he gained himself. Elliot's academic career faced turbulence. A few peers whispered behind his back. "The scientist who found God," they mocked. Some openly questioned his credibility. It hurt, but it didn't break him. He gave a guest lecture at a university. Afterward, a student approached and whispered, "I'm Muslim too. Thank you for being open." It reminded Elliot why it mattered. He used his platform to bridge faith and science, writing articles that explored how the two could coexist. It drew criticism and admiration alike. In solitude, he still wrestled with doubts, but now he welcomed them. He saw them not as threats to faith, but as tools for refinement. And every time he heard the Quran, especially Surah Ar-Rahman, his heart wept in gratitude. Elliot began volunteering at the mosque. He mentored reverts, helped translate Islamic content for Western audiences, and even organized interfaith events. He met a woman named Amina, a revert like him, fierce and kind. Their bond deepened through shared experiences. Eventually, they married in a quiet, beautiful ceremony. Together, they dreamed of building bridges between faith and reason, between cultures, between hearts. He also reconnected with his estranged father. "I may not understand your path," his father said, "but I see that you're at peace." And that's all I ever wanted for you. It was a full circle moment. Love won again. Years passed. Elliot, now Yusuf, became a respected voice in interfaith dialogue. He traveled the world, sharing his journey not to convert, but to connect. He wrote a memoir titled When Logic Failed, and it became an unexpected bestseller. In interviews, he often said, "Islam didn't ask me to abandon my mind. It just helped me find my soul." One evening, he sat with his young daughter, reading Surah Ar-Rahman together. Her tiny voice echoed the same verse that once shattered his certainty. "Fabi-ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban," she recited. Yusuf smiled, tears in his eyes. "Indeed," he whispered, "which of your Lord's favors will you deny?"